Tammy, and welcome back to my channel. My channel is Woodland Stitching Studio, formerly known as Tammy's Crafty Life. Thank you for joining me. I am so glad that you've chosen to spend a part of your day with me. This is a channel that's primarily about cross stitch, although I will throw in some other crafts once in a while. I'm pretty much obsessed with cross stitch though, so you won't see a lot of other things these days. So I have a few things to share with you. In my last video, I shared my December fun that I had, the craziness where I started 35 new projects, so I showed you all those projects. And this month, for January, I am participating in the Magazine Monthly Challenge and Bringo. Those are hosted by Carolyn Zook and Robin Hall. Carolyn is C. Zook Stitch and Robin is Bird's Eye Stitches. The Magazine Monthly Challenge goes on every month. They have an acrostic that gives you prompts for different things to stitch on. And then during the month of January, they do what's called Bringo, which is kind of like bingo. You choose 25 items, fill out your Bringo sheet, and they choose one number every day, and that helps you decide what to stitch on that day. Excuse me. So I'm participating in that, and I have a couple of other WIPs to share with you. I'm also participating in WIPGO this year. WIPGO is also like a bingo where you put 25 or 24, you have a free space, items into a board, and two numbers are chosen every month, and then you decide what your goal is for those numbers for each month. I decided that when I created my board. So that's what most of today will be about. Before I do that, I want to do a couple of shout outs. The first ones, of course, I just mentioned, C. Zook Stitch and Bird's Eye Stitches, Carolyn and Robin, so please check them out. I will list all these below. The next one is my friend Diane. She has a channel. It's called Be a Blessing Stitcher, and she is a blessing to everyone who knows her. And so please check out her channel. It will be, it's a good watch. She does some really fun, nice videos. I really enjoy watching her videos. She has a very calming voice, so just watching her can calm you down. And then the last one is last month, well, back up a hair, I am in a stitching group that meets every week. We don't take turns. There's a couple of ladies that take turns hosting it at their house, and we're in the Willamette Valley in Oregon. And last month we had a special guest, Lisa Smith, who is the Kindred Stitcher, joined us. So it was very, very nice to spend the evening with her and get to know her. She has a very well-known YouTube channel, the Kindred Stitcher, as I just mentioned. So if you haven't checked her out yet, go ahead and do that, because she is a pleasure to watch also. So I think that's it for all the preliminary stuff. So I'll just get into what I've been doing. For Bringo, there have been, well, we're on day 19, so 19 of the 25 have been called, and I'll show you my board. Well, it's not a board, it's a page in my planner. This is my Bringo sheet. When the number is called, I put one line through it, this one right here, and then when I've completed it, I cross it. The challenge for Bringo is 1 hour or 100 stitches on each item. There's a couple that I'm behind on. One of them, I have one session left, and another one I may be scrapping, so I haven't done it yet. So I will show you the things that I have done. I'm not taking them in order, because I didn't put them in that order in my pile, so that's just the way it is. My first item is a finish. It's a huge finish. This is, oh, I should have folded this before I started this. This is a free chart by Fat Quarter Shop. It's called Independence Day. This is a whopping 28 by 27 stitches. I chose to stitch this 1/1 on 28 count. It's a mystery linen, and this is a finish for me. So there's my tiny, this is 1 inch square. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. I might put it on a button cover. It would go good on a 1 1/4 inch button cover. It would be kind of hard to make a pillow that small, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that. We'll see. But it was a fun stitch, and it's funny because I started it like forever ago. I don't know what my card is on it, but and I only worked on it one day, and then I never picked it up again. So yes, this month I picked it up and finished it. My next one, in addition to being one of my Bringo choices, it's also a year-long 2024 stitch along from Modern Folk Embroidery. This is called No Time Like the Present, and this is it. Jacob gave like 4 or 5 different colorways. I chose not to use any of them because that's me. None of the colorways were purple, so I had to choose purple. I ordered my threads from Silks for You, yes, on Etsy, and these are the 2 colors that I'm using. This is a beautiful, beautiful variegated color, and then this is a solid purple. These are, the variegated is PR203, and the other one is PR016. I originally bought these to do a different stitch along, a long dog sampler that I've decided not to do. So I'm using them for this instead. So I probably have way more thread than I need. But this comes in a 100-yard hank. And I actually bought 3 colors, so I haven't done anything with the 3rd color yet. But so that's my thread for No Time Like the Present. And I have this was a start on the 1st of the month, because that's when the stitch along started. I need to cut this fabric down. I'm stitching on 28 count Wedgwood, 25 count, sorry, Wedgwood blue, and I'm doing 1/1. And I have a tiny little start. So I'm doing the outside using the variegated, and then this is the purple. So this is going to be really, really pretty, just because this, isn't that just, I wish my whole life was these colors. They're just so pretty. So that is my second one. The next one is, this was an experiment that I did. I wanted to stitch something on 56 count fabric. So I chose to use this pattern, Stitcher by Luminous Fiber Arts, because it's all one color and it's a fairly small pattern. It is 53 by 120. And I got this fabric from Acorns and Threads. The fabric is 56 count linen by Tabby Cat, and it's called Cornish Mizzy. And here is my start. So I started kind of in the middle. The T is right in the middle, but I stitched the bird first, and then I'm going across. So TC, and I'm on the H. And I was surprised I actually could do it. I use number 5 readers and the magnifier that's on my light to be able to stitch this. So that one, and this other one, my Independence Day 1/1 on 28 count is the same as 1/2 on 56 count. My next one is Stablemates, and this one was interesting. I started this in 2021, in May of 2021, and I fell in love with it, and I stitched it for a couple of weeks, and I got the horse's head done, and I got just this part right here done. And then I hadn't picked it up for 2 years, I think. Yeah, well, I stitched on it in January of 2022, and then not at all in 2023. So it came up for one of the calls in Bringo, and I did my 1 day, 1 hour, 100 stitches. But I love this picture, and I couldn't put it down, so I've been stitching on it all month. And it's got a couple of weird threads, but here is my progress. And I intend to finish this. It might not get done this month, but it is going to be finished soon because I just want to finish it. So I have done, since I picked this up, what day was it? On the 7th. I've stitched on it almost every day since then. So I started over here and found out that I have a mistake in this wheel. And I remembered, as soon as I came to that, I was like, oh, that's right, I remember. I don't know what the mistake was, though, because I haven't touched this for 2 years. And I didn't tear it out. So for the rest of it to be right, I decided to work my way over. I went across the back of the horse and worked my way down, and then came this way, so that when I get back to this wheel, I can fudge whatever I need to. But I didn't want to fudge anything here and then have the kitty or something not match up. So I'm working right here is where I'm at right now. This goes really fast. I did all of this kitty, and all of this green last night. So I've made this like an everyday stitch because I really do love stitching on it and I want to finish it. I can't wait to see it framed. The fabric is, where'd my card go? Here it is. The fabric is, I have these cards that I made that have all the information on them. For some reason I never wrote down what the fabric is on this one. So Stablemates is on page 28. I bought the fabric from Stony Creek. It's 14 count vintage smoky white, and there's just, you can kind of barely see the smoky part of it, and it's 14 count. 2 years ago I was doing a lot of 14 count. Now I don't do it as much, but it's kind of interesting after I work on all these small counts. It's nice to go back to 14 count because it's so easy. It's big and easy. My next one is the Garden of Zig by Ink Circles. This one might have been one of my starts from last month, one of my 35 new starts. I saw the floss first. It is by Cottage Garden, and they had a floss pack for it at Acorns and Threads. And I looked at the floss a couple of times when I was there and finally bought it. And kept looking at this pattern and then finally bought the pattern. I was going to do something else with the floss, but I bought the pattern. And this is on 25 count Wedgwood Blue Lugana, and I'm doing this 1/1. And here's my start. This is in the middle. It's the band that's in the middle. And this is, when I finish this upside down V, that'll be halfway. So it's not going to be huge because I'm doing it 1/1. I'm loving these colors. The floss is really pretty and I like it on this blue fabric. I rarely stitch on white, and I have a couple here that are on white. They're both older, and I saw why when I pulled them out to iron them, because I can't keep white clean to save my soul. It is awful. This next one is called Flamingo. This is a kit by RTO, and I started this one in 2021, November of 2021. I am stitching this for my sister who loves flamingos. So when the number was called this month, I have this flamingo done, and I was working, just starting here, and so that's kind of still where I am. I've worked on it only one day, I think, this month. And here it is. So I already had all of this done, and then when it was called, I'm starting this part, which is the back of the second flamingo. I'm getting really tired of that color, so that's why I stopped stitching on it. I do want to finish this though and get it to my sister, because she's gonna love it. Hopefully she's gonna love it. My next one is part of a set of 4 that are going to be stitched all together. And this is By the Sea by Jeanette Douglas. I started this on Christmas Day of 2021. This is kind of a picture of the whole thing, but you buy the patterns individually. So I'm doing spring first, and that's this right here. And then these are the other 3 seasons. And I am working in this part right here. I'm almost done with this part. When I picked it up, I had just the little point done. I had like maybe 10 stitches in it. That's all I did when I started it. And I hadn't pulled it back out since then. And it makes me sad because this is like this is a Bargello stitch, and so is this. They go fairly quickly. So I could finish the square, and then the rest of it is not too much stitching, although there are 4, so it will take some time to finish it. I'm stitching them all on one piece of fabric. The fabric is 32 count French lace linen. I don't know how I chose this fabric. Might be called for, I'm not sure. My piece of fabric is huge, and once I've finished the first one, I can figure out how to cut it down. But I don't want to cut it down until too soon and then not have enough fabric. So here is my little start here. I have just one more. There's 3 different colors, so I have one more row of each color, I think, and then that part will be done. One of them is Kreinik, and it's not too bad to stitch with because I'm just stitching with 1 thread, but that's kind of hard to see because it's so light. This is going to be beautiful when it's done. I will be very happy to finish that. My next one is Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. I was fortunate enough to snag the pattern. As soon as I saw her, I knew I wanted to stitch her. It's interesting because she's not at all my colors. But I saw her stitched on this fabric that I'm using. Oh, I cannot remember his name. There's a guy who stitched her a few years ago, and I saw it. I still have it saved, so I'll link it down below. This is what she will look like, except that she's on a different fabric. I like patriotic things. She's stitched on 32 count even weave. I bought this fabric from XG Designs. I did write it down. She had specially dyed it for this guy, and so I contacted her and asked about it. So the fabric is a special order. She will do it. And this is how far I am. I've stitched on this several days now. This is in the middle, and this is starting the beginning of the flag where it lays against her dress. So this is the fabric. This is half of the fabric. It's folded in half. And seeing this stitched on this fabric, it was stunning. It just makes her pop. So that is Lady of the Flag. My next one was a brand new start for this month. This is another Mirabilia. This one is Queen of Freedom. I saw Lady of the Flag before I ever saw Queen of Freedom, and I actually had Lady of the Flag before I ever saw Queen of Freedom. And then when I saw her, I knew I needed to stitch her also. So I was able to snag her this pattern. Both of these patterns are out of print. You will find them might find them on a stash unload or on eBay. They're quite spendy. But this is Queen of Freedom. I am stitching her on, here's her thing, 32 count Lugana that is called Winter Blues, and it's by Bestitch Me. I knew I wanted to put her on a blue fabric, and I am in love with this fabric. I need to buy some more because I want to stitch other things on it. This is the fabric. Isn't that pretty? It's very bright. In person it's much more bright. This one I've only stitched on one day, so that's my tiny little start. I started in the middle, and so that's how far I am. And I cannot wait to do some more work on her. She also qualifies as patriotic, so she will come out a couple of times at least this year. I try to stitch on the 4th each month, patriotic. Usually I forget until the 5th that the 4th even happened. It just doesn't occur to me. I need to put a reminder in my phone, I think, because otherwise it's not going to happen. My next one is by Little Dove Designs, and this is Heart of Winter. I saw this on Brenda the Handwork Maniac last year, the year before. She was stitching it. She has since finished it, and I fell in love with it. So I started in the middle and worked my way down. I have this bottom part all done, and now I'm working up here. This is on 28 count light blue even weave. And this is where I am. I'm working on the cabin. This is another one that's hard to put down because it's just fun to stitch. But look at that. Isn't that stuff at the bottom so fun? I think I might have some back stitching to do down here. I don't remember. I did this in maybe a week when I first picked it up. So this side of the top is way more stitch intensive than the other side. And I'm anxious to work on that. I can only work on, there's only so many hours in a day. There are some days that I sometimes work on like 5 different things. If I'm really wanting to stitch something, I'll stitch like an hour on one and then an hour on another. My last one that I'm going to show that's part of Bringo is called Posy Manor, and this is by Shannon Christine Designs. I had this one on there twice, and today was the second day it was called. So this is Posy Manor. When I saw this, I just fell in love with it. I love the colors and just the whole design. And I am stitching this on 28 count Lugana that's called Mojito Smoothie by Grace Notes Fabric. And this is today's, so it's still on the Q-snap. And this is the progress that I have so far. I haven't touched it yet today. The first prompt that it was called for was you roll a dice and stitch on that many different motifs. And my dice rolled 3, so I stitched on the flowers, this band, and this urn. The little urn is finished. I think this fabric is really pretty. I don't think it's showing quite right, but it's very pretty fabric. So that's going to be fun to work on today. Let's see. So that was all of my Bringo. For WIPGO, my numbers that were called were 9 and 22. Number 9 is Mill Hill, and my WIPGO goal is 3 days on anything that's called. And a day to me is as long as I touch it and get some stitches in it. So 9 and 22. 9 is Mill Hill, and 22 is Patriotic, and I'm using the same projects that I use for Bringo. They're crossing over. So the fact that I stitch on Queen of Freedom and Lady of the Flag. Lady of the Flag was actually called, she was on my board 4 times. So she got stitched on 4 times this month. So that took care of WIPGO for Patriotic. And I have stitched on my Mill Hill picture twice this month, so I need 1 more day of Mill Hill and then I'm done with Bringo. This is the one that I've worked on this month. This is called Butterfly Capri, and this is a Laurel Birch pattern. I love her patterns because they are bright and vibrant. And my first day, I think I showed this last month because I started this in my 35 new starts last month. My first day, I did the body and all this pink. And then this month, I've done all of this blue. And these colors are much more vibrant than they're actually showing there. This is white, 14 count white perforated paper. So that's Butterfly Capri. And then the last thing I've worked on this month that has nothing to do with Magazine Monthly Challenge or Bringo or WIPGO. I have one more project, and that one is by Satsuma Street, Pretty Little New York. This was one of my starts, one of my 35 starts last month. I'm stitching this for my daughter because she loves New York City. I love the colors. It's lots of fun to stitch. All of Jody's patterns are really fun to stitch because she does blocks of color and that makes it more fun. And let's see, this I'm stitching on 14 count white Aida. And this reminded me why I don't like to use white, because when I took it out of the Q-snap, there's places outside the Q-snap that are dirty, so I'm hoping those dirty places will stay outside the pattern. This is how far I am. I've worked on this several times this month, and I've done all of this and most of this up here, just here. I think when I showed it last month, I know I had like just some of this done here and maybe this. So I've done all the rest of this month. It's one that's hard to put down, so between it and Stablemates, that's what I've worked on most of the month. I was looking to see the Magazine Monthly Challenge. The theme is to Grandmother's House, and so you choose one project for the theme, and then the acrostic is sleigh. So my project for the theme is No Time Like the Present. I chose that because it's a clock, so it reminds me, just drop some stuff, reminds me of my grandmother. For sleigh, I chose Seasons of the Heart Autumn, which was something I showed in my last video that I actually started and finished. For L, did I say for sleigh? For S, Seasons of the Heart Autumn, that I would stitch on it 3 days. Well, I ended up finishing it. For L, I chose Lady of the Flag for 3 days, and she's gotten 4 days of stitching this month. For E, I chose E Pluribus Unum, which is on my Bringo and has not been called yet, so it'll be stitched soon, and I have 3 days for that. It is a patriotic stitch by Jan Hicks Creates. For I chose Independence Day, and I just had 1 day because I knew I could finish it in 1 day. For G, I chose Garden of Zig, and I need to stitch on it for 3 days. I have done 1 day. I feel like I've done 2 days. I haven't written one of them down, so I need 1 more day. And then the H was Heart of Winter, so I'd stitch on it for 3 days, and I think I've done 4. So I tried, a few months ago I tried the Magazine Monthly Challenge, and by a week into it I was no longer interested. I was pretty sure that doing the Magazine Monthly Challenge and WIPGO and Bringo would push me way over the edge the first week of January, and that did not happen. I think it's because I chose more wisely what I put in each of those boards. In my WIPGO board, I have some specific things, but I have categories too, like patriotic, Christmas, Halloween, and then I have a list of, and Mill Hill is one of my categories. Then I just have a list of specific things. Oh, and Satsuma Street is one. So I think that made it easier for me that both the ones I chose, or both the numbers that were called for this month, were not specific projects, so that made it really easy. I also chose projects that I know I really want to work on. There is another Facebook group that's called Year of Whips, and I don't know if I've actually found the Facebook group. Carolyn has talked about it quite a few times. And that challenge is that you need to choose a certain number of projects you want to finish that month, and then you post pictures in the group, and there's prizes at the end based on what you finish. And so I think that her thing this year was to choose 8. I think I've come up with 10 that I want to finish, so I also put most of those on my Bringo board, so they all got touched this month. And a couple of them I shows are quick and easy finishes. I just haven't wanted to touch them, so I just need to finish them, and that will prompt me to do that. So that is all of my stitching for this month so far. My plans are to keep working on WIPGO, so I need to do at least one more day on Mill Hill, and I'll probably continue to work on the Butterfly Capri because it is so fun to stitch with those bright colors. I'm going to finish the magazine monthly challenge. I still need to work on a couple more days on a couple of the items, and then all 3 days on one of them, I think. And Bringo, that one seems to be easy because it's 1 hour or 100 stitches. I can stitch an hour on anything, and I have a lot of stitching time every evening. I have 5 to 6 hours most evenings that I can just sit and stitch, which lets me stitch on multiple things or give a lot of time to one thing each night. I think that's pretty much it. My other plan, which I've already met this month, is each month I'm going to finish and fully finish one small item, one small cross stitch item. The one I did this month was Seasons of the Heart Autumn that I'm sent off for a smalls exchange for the Annabella's online retreat that is in a couple of weeks. So I think that is it. I've lost my clicker, so oh, here it is. Yep, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked what you see and that you will return. If you did like it, please subscribe and hit that like button. That helps out my channel tremendously. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and happy stitching. Bye for now.